Okay, so in your notes, right now, first thing we're going to do is at the very tip top, let's write chapter 1, and let's title it so that we remember when we're getting ready for that quiz that Miss Malone says we're going to have a quiz here, or when I say we're going to have a test, and you say, well, what's it going to be on? What's going to be on the quiz? What's going to be on the test? And I say, everything that we did in chapter 1. Well, now you know where that stuff's at because you've given those notes a title. Okay? All right. Remember we talked about, I want this thing to be on the left side of your paper. So that means this is where we're starting. Okay? This is the front. So that's where your title goes. Right? Yes, Tessa. You can print. Well, I mean, you do whatever you want to do. I don't care. I know some kids love to do cursive. And for some of you, cursive is easier than printing. But for some of you, cursive is not your friend, and you feel like you can read your stuff better by just printing. Remember, these are your notes. These aren't my notes. I already have my notes. So the most important thing is that you can read what you write. Don't write something down that tomorrow, if I say, tell me what that says, if you couldn't read it, then you probably need to take better notes. Yes, Dominic, what was your question?
I really like I just write quizzes.
So you just do it that way naturally now? Okay, so it's however you feel. All right, now, who thinks the title of this looks like something that's going to be pretty simple? Good. Now, the beginning of the year math test that we took, it spooked you a little bit, didn't it? It made you think, oh my gosh, fifth grade math is going to be so hard. But look how we're starting. We're starting pretty easy. That stuff that spooked you, it's not going to show up for a long time. And by the time it shows up, it's going to feel easy because we will have made sure that you know everything you need to know before you get to that. Okay, so this is our chapter 1. We're going to learn some place value, we're going to add, and we're going to subtract. Okay, now let's move. Here's this chart. Okay, this chart has a picture. This is what is actually in your math book. It is actually what's on my wall up here. For those of you who are observant and you notice things around you, you may have noticed that around this classroom are a lot of things related to math and religion. Why do you think I did it that way? Addison. That's right. Those are the subjects that I'm teaching you. Now remember, in the old days, and I might say that a lot, but in the old days, all the other kids from the other classes came in here and they learned math and they learned religion in here. So they could use things on the wall to help them. You have that advantage. They don't have that. 5P, 5F, 5A doesn't have the advantage that you have because they don't have things splashed around their classroom that go with math and religion. So you need to start using your resources. What do you think I mean by that? Use a resource. Come on, people that I'm seeing Addison's hand, I know she's involved. Some people, I want some more people involved. Using your resource. Connor G, what do you think that means?
Using what you already have rather than trying to find new things that you don't have.
Ding, 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 ding. Perfect answer. Use what you have been given to help them. This morning you had a simple solutions activity. Some of you wanted my help to answer the problems. But if you used your resources, would you have needed my help? Where were the answers to the simple solutions questions located? Connor, or Colin? Yeah. The paragraph right in front of the questions had all of the stuff you needed. And Colin even said, you know, if I can't find it there, I could go into the back of the book for help too. That's using your resources. So if you're in the classroom And you have the option to have this big giant place value chart on your wall on the day of the test. Use your resources. Is that cheating? No. If I'm giving it to you, it's not cheating. Now, if I don't give it to you and you try to pull it from your desk secretively, or you try to use your buddy next to you secretively, then it becomes cheating. But if I'm giving you the information, that's using your resources. Okay? Place value. In this grade, believe it or not, we're going to learn place value. The book says all the way to the billions place. The wall says 100 trillions place. Miss Malone says millions. Because we don't play with numbers that big ever. And there's no reason in taking up space in your brain with stuff that your brain doesn't need to know. If any of you ever become a billionaire, then you can start learning and playing with numbers in the billions. But most of us will not, right? Most of us probably won't even become millionaires. Maybe we will. I hope you will. Remember Miss Malone if you do. But becoming a millionaire is tough to do. But we are going to play with numbers all the way to the millions place. Beyond that, not very necessary. So we're only going to teach you what you need to know. So on this graph here, here's what I want you to do. There's a giant number. That number begins with a 5, has another 5, then it has a comma. Then it has a 9, a 3, a 5, comma, 8, 3, 4, comma, 7, 2, 0. I want you to write that number down in your notebook. Okay, I hold a bag of candy in my hand because I don't care what age you are, whether you're 10, 9, or 99, you like candy, okay? To get a piece of candy out of my bag, you will need to tell me how to say this number's name. Now, I will have three chances. So I'll pick somebody. If they get it, then they get the candy and it's off the table. If they miss it, I go to somebody else. That's chance number 2. If they miss it, one last chance. If after 3 chances we can't get it, the candy goes back in the drawer. Now to keep it fair, because you're all like, I want to do it. A minute ago, I was begging for you to raise your hand. Now candy, everybody's raising your hand, okay? So I'm going to do it fair. My little candy sticks here will keep it fair, right? If I pick your number and you're like, I don't know, you can say you don't know. You don't have to try. But I want to pull you out of your shell and try to get all of you to try. Because, do we all make mistakes?
Yes.
Yes. Will you ever learn from your mistakes if you don't try? Why do you think we do math in a pencil? What does a pencil have that most pens don't? Yes. An eraser. Because there's a lot of mistakes that happen in math. All right, here we go. First number that I choose, 16. Do it. Good, Brayden. You're the first guy that gets the chance. All right, Brayden, let's see if he can do it.
55,935,834,700.
You get the candy. Nice work, Brayden. How many of the rest of you thought that was that number's name? Good for you. And maybe next time you'll get chosen. But this number that we're looking at here is called, for those of you who seems kind of quiet, 55,935,000,000 $834,720. Did you notice how me and Braden never use the word "and" when we said that number's name? A lot of kids will say this number is 55,935,834,720. How many times you all throw the word "and" in there? I didn't when I said that number's name. Braden didn't when he said that number's name. Why is "and" such a problem? Why should we never use "and" when we say this giant number's name?
I think because the commas.
Good try. Great try. She said, I think the commas? Well, no, because listen, where they usually say the word "and" is in this section here. And this section here. Hold on, I gotta go back to where we were. So we say it inside the numbers here. So you're kind of close though, Allie. You're on the right track. Max.
Because it really doesn't make too much sense.
Okay, so you say it doesn't, you're right, it does kind of sound weird, but sometimes we just kind of like, it rolls off our tongue when we say it. But there's a real big reason why it's important not to say "and."
It's because it's one big number, not like 539 and 842. It's one big number.
Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Look up here on the wall. Do you see the word "and"?
Yeah.
I do. Where is it sitting on top of, Rory?
The dot.
The dot. The word "and" in math means a decimal. So inside that giant number, do you see any decimals?
No.
No. That's why it's important that you don't say the word "and" in that number's name, because there is no decimal in there. All right, now what I want you to do, because you have written this giant number on your paper, underneath the digit, I want you to say the place that digit is sitting. So the 5 that's in the billions place, what's its value? Is its value only 5? What's its value? What's its value, Xander?
10 billion.
Not 10 billion. What's its value? Tessa?
It's in the tens place.
It's in the tens place, but look, so is this one, so is this one, so is that one. It's not just the tens, it's what? 10 what?
10 billion.
The 10 billions. So this 5 right here, his value is 50 billion. That's what his value is. If I take the number 5, and I count by tens, because he's in the tens place, right? Let's count by tens 5 times. What do we get? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. We get 50, don't we? So his value is 50 because there are 5 tens, and 5 tens gives me 50, right? His value is 50 billion. So underneath that very first 5 that you wrote, I want you to write its value. Now you may have to write it going like, they put theirs on top. I think you should put yours underneath. Because most of you probably wrote that number close to the top of your notebook paper, so you probably don't have space above it to put it. So I would write it underneath it. Hang on, let me get rid of this for a second. So that number that we have is 55,935, 834, 720. Yes. So under our 5 here, the very first 5 that we have, we're going to say that this value, and you can either write it like sideways, like this, 50 billion. What?
Is it okay if I just added a bunch of zeros?
Sure. You didn't, I put mine in word form, he wrote his in what we call standard form, like in number form. Remember, we're not gonna play with numbers this big, really, ever. Because remember, we're not gonna go above the millions place, but for this example, because the book does, we're just gonna kind of look at it for this particular moment. Okay, let's move to the next 5. Who wants to give this one a shot? Remember, he's in the ones place, but he's not just 5 ones. So if he's in the ones place, I just count by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know his value is 5, not 50. 5 what? 5 what? Lily? Yes, Lily, very good. 5 billion. So this guy's value is 5 billion. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one's a 9. Now look, we moved into a different place. We're not in the billions place anymore. Now we have moved into the millions place. So the 9 is in the hundreds section. So let's think, if I counted by hundreds 9 times, how many hundreds would I have, Emily? How many? Yes, 900 million. Because everybody understanding this, the 9's in the hundreds. So if I count by 100 times, that's 900. And it's in the millions place. So his value is 900 million. It's starting to feel like I kind of get it a little bit. All right, what about the 3? Now this is the one that gets sometimes, people. Remember, it's in the tens place. I have 3 tens. So if I gave you 3 $10 bills, how much would you have?
30 million.
Yes, thank you. 30 million.
But you keep on.
What?
I don't understand the metaphor.
You don't understand what? Say it again.
I don't understand the metaphor. If you give someone 310.
Well, 3 tens will always be 30, right? But if I'm in the millions place, it's going to be 30 million. If I give you 3 tens like in money, it would be $30. All right, now what I want you to do, write the rest of it on your own. And then I'll check and see if you got them here in a moment. It's 9 o'clock. I'll give you to 9:02. All right, 902. So let's see how you did. Hopefully you noticed the closer you got to the last number down here in the green zone, the easier the place became. Because those are the places that you're most familiar with, right? Like even in like second grade, you started learning about the ones place and the tens place and the hundreds place. So, but you haven't really talked about the millions place a lot. So, but it all kind of stays the same. It sounds bigger, it sounds scarier, but it's the same thing. Now, the place is what we call the name. The value, that's what it's worth. Okay? Let me give you an example. Put your hands down. Put your hands down. Just be listeners, right? Here's an example. How many of you have ever lived in a home that mom and dad was trying to sell? You were trying to sell your house and somebody was trying to buy it. So you kind of have been through that before, right? Okay. So mom and dad come up with a price that they want to sell their house for. Let's just say, for fun, $1 million.
Wow.
They want to sell their house for $1 million. Well, just because that's what they want to sell it for, does that mean that's what somebody's going to give them? No. Whatever somebody gives them is what that house is worth. That's its value. So if I wanted to sell my house for $1 million, but somebody came and bought it for $800,000, what's the value of my house? What is it? $800,000, because that's what the person gave me. Not $1 million. I mean, that's what I wanted, but they didn't give me that. So the value of a number is what it's worth. What is this 5 right here worth? 50 million. If you had this giant number in your bank account, that 5 right there would mean you have $50 million in your bank account. That's what it's worth. This is what we need to know. What is this number worth? Because that's where numbers become exciting. They're boring when they're just on paper and you just have to add them. They're boring. But when they sit in your bank account, then it gets fun. Then it gets exciting. Okay? All right, so this 8 right here, actually the 5, that's where we left off. What's that 5's value, everybody?
5 million.
Good. 5 million. I have a strong feeling Braden's catching on to this. You know how I know? First off, you got candy, and second off, I'm hearing him give me answers. The more I know your understanding is what you give back to me. If you say nothing, I'll think you know nothing. If you say stuff, I'll think you know stuff. So we gotta participate. Moving on to our 8. Now we're in a different place. Now we're in the thousands place. What's 8's value, Hallie? Good girl. 800,000. What about my 3? What's it worth? Chase.
30,000.
Good job. 30,000. You guys are catching on. I'm loving it. 4. What's 4's worth, Dominic?
2,000.
4,000. I'm choosing to write this all in word form. You can write it in standard form or whatever form you want. Now we're moving to 7. Rory, what's 7's value?
700.
What?
700.
Good girl. 700. Allie, what's 2's value? 20. And what's the last number? Didn't write very clear. 0. What's 0's value?
0.
I don't have any ones, I don't have anything. So his value is 0. You still gotta write the word 0. 0 is a number. Don't think 0 is nothing. Right? 0 is a big thing in number land. Isn't there a big difference between this number and this number? And this number?
Yes.
Zeros matter. So don't go, 0 is nothing. It actually is a big thing. $10 and $1,000 is the difference of 2 zeros. The more zeros, the bigger your money. And that you like, okay? Yes, James?
You know how you said zeros are worthless? In my case, most of the numbers are zeros.
I'm yours? Oh, yeah, because you chose to do yours in standard form. He wrote his as a number, not as a word like I did. But
The reason I did it is because for every place you just remove 1 0.
you're correct. Good. And that's so important, James, that you catch on to those little patterns. So when you catch on quick like that, it makes math easy because math is filled with patterns. So many of them. Okay, everybody got the notes for this? Let's move on to our next slide. Okay. Now, here's your first definition. What's the definition of the word place value? It's important to know this because guess what? On your math test or quiz that you'll get later, I'm going to say, what does the word place value mean? And I'm going to need you to be able to say what it means. Just like if you said, if I asked all of you, what does the word sum mean in math? Couldn't all of you tell me that answer?
Yes.
Yes. Because you all know that in math, the word sum means, see, you all know it. But if I said, what does place value mean? Now you need a definition. So this goes in your notes. So place value it's the value of a digit in a number, its value in that position or place. And that's what we just did on the slide before. We took a massively big number and we said what each number was worth. By a show of hands, who feels like so far this is feeling pretty good? Okay. Excellent, I got most of the crowd. That's what I want as a teacher. I want most of the crowd to feel like they get what's going on. If most of the crowd is confused, we have to take a time out and we gotta redo. But if most of the crowd feels pretty confident, then I feel confident that we can keep going. All right, so if I say place value, I'm not talking about you giving me the name. If I said, tell me the name of the place that the digit is sitting in, then I want you to tell me, oh, that's the ones place, or the tens place, or the hundreds place. If I say I want you to tell me the value, now I want this stuff. Get that? Okay. Now sometimes we can do math that seems hard, very easy. Now I don't want you all to get so locked in that when you see a slide, you just start writing everything that's on the slide. Remember, your notebook is for notes that you don't know. So don't write everything just because you see it. Because there might be a chance you already know it and you didn't need to write it. One of the things that you're going to have to do tonight on your homework. Yep. You're going to have to find the value of a place that's 10 times a number they give you. Oh, that sounds scary. Actually, it's really simple. Just like James picked up on patterns, here's another one that makes something that sounds so confusing so easy. All right, so look at my example. Let's say on your homework tonight, they give you a problem that says 100 times 10. And the directions say, find the value, right? That's what it's worth. Find the value of a place. So if the place is the hundreds place, and I want to know what 10 times that place would be, the easy way to do it, well, first change that place into a value. So if it's the hundreds place, and I only have one of them, then its value is 100. Everybody get that part? If I'm multiplying it by 10, all I
Not a zero.
need to do is add a 0. So look, my 1 in the front here times my 1 in the front here is what? What's 1 times 1, people? 1. So that becomes part of my answer. Then all I had to do was count how many zeros were in the problem, 1, 2, 3, and put those in my answer. Simple. Playing with zeros in math, where it looks scary and big, is actually really simple. So I want you guys to try some of these. So on your notes page, you might want to put my example, because my example will help it to make sense to you. So if you say for homework tonight, they say, the place is the hundreds place. What would be 10 times the hundreds place? The example tells you. It would be the thousands place. So I took the problem, which was the hundreds place, and I turned it into a number. Okay, hundreds. 10 times that. Well, Miss Malone said all I have to do is multiply the numbers that I see, which is my 1 times my 1. And what do I get, everybody? 1. And then I just count how many zeros are there. 1, 2, 3. And I put all of those in my answer. And what place is that? That's the thousands place. So that's my answer. Now some of you are maybe what we would call a math kid. You did that quickly. You didn't need to write it out like this. But not everybody works that way. So if you need to write it out like a number to make it make sense better to you, then do that. Whatever you need to do to make it easier on you is how you need to solve it. All right, so let's try problem number 1. Okay, problem number 1. Now, just so Carson can kind of see what we're doing, we're going to bring him to our page with us. Okay, so problem number 1, it said the thousands, didn't it? Somebody said?
Yeah.
Okay, the thousands. What is 10 times the thousands place? Well, let's write it out as a number. What does 1,000 look like as a number? Colin, what does 1,000 look like as a number? 3 zeros. If I want to know what 10 times that is, I'm going to multiply it by 10. Now, I'm not going to have to write this out and do this big, long math problem, because all of these numbers end in 0, so I can do this inside my brain. What's 1 times 1, everybody? 1. How many zeros are in the problem? 4. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 total zeros. Let's put all 4 of them here. Now, I do have to figure out where my comma goes. Commas are a big deal. Where does this thing go, Allie?
Whenever 10, and then you do a comma, because it can only be 3 zeros.
Right, so I always say this, Allie, start at the end and jump 3 spots and put a comma. So if I start at the end, jump 3, 1, 2, 3, comma. Every 3 jumps makes a comma. So there's my answer. What place is that, everybody? Not the thousands, the 10,000s. So my answer to that practice problem number 1 is 10,000s. Yes, Max?
Can you like just write it out like the amount? Like not the number, but like down.
So you're asking me, can you just write it like this?
No.
Can you just write it like that? Yeah, that's fine, because that's what the question's asking, is what's the name of the place. Remember, name of the place, they're wanting the words. The value, they want the number. But some kids math, remember how we talked about math kids, not so math kids? Math kids can figure this out easily without needing the numbers. Those that might need that little extra vision, they need to see it in numbers. I don't care if you don't do that as long as you get it right. But let's say you take the shortcut maps and you put the words and that's all I see, and you got them all wrong. You think I'm gonna let you keep taking the shortcut? No, because you're not getting there. And that becomes a problem. All right, let's try number 2. Look, I've got all these marks all over my board.
There's like teaching the writing part isn't on.
Why was it not on?
You split your fingers apart and then
Split your fingers.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that exciting? It wrote on my thing. It wrote to you all, but it didn't write to him. Let's pick this up and let's erase here. Is it letting me erase?
Yeah,
No.
you're on erase with it.
No, because I'm not on. Hang on. Let me fix something really quickly. Carson, hold on 1 second. Technical difficulties yet again. Well, we'll have to come back to it. It didn't change it for him, it only changed it for you guys. Oh, my Lord have mercy. Hold on. Okay, let's try again. Oh my gosh. Oh, why will not that not go away? I don't want those tools. Get off. Okay, well, we're just going to have to carry on here. What was the next example? Did y'all write the next place down?
No, I didn't get it.
We'll have to go small because I can't get the screen to go large. It's the 10 million. So, okay, let's see if it works now. All right, 10 million.
I see it.
Thank you, babe. All right, what is 10 times the value of 10 million? Well, let's put this in number form. What does 10 million look like? Holy moly. Well, I better make sure that I don't miss any zeros because missing a zero would not be what 10 million really looks like. So 10 million will have a 10, and then it'll have 3 zeros and 3 more zeros. That's what 10 million looks like. Now I want to know what 10 times that would be. I simply add what? Add another 0. So how many zeros are in my answer? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yikes.
Oh, correct. That's all zeros.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I gotta figure out where my commas go. So remember, I start at the end and I jump 3. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, comma. 1, 2, 3, comma. So what's the name of the place that is 10 times 10 million? Tessa?
100 million.
100 million. You guys catching on?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to try one more?
Yes.
Okay. I got to jump back to my tiny screen. All right. Let's go to number 4. Let's practice number 4. We're going to skip number 3 because I feel like you probably get it. But let's go to something like number 4. Okay, number 4 is the ones. All right, so it's the ones place. What's 10 times the ones place? Well, what does ones look like as a number?
Number 1.
It looks like a 1. I'm going to multiply it because I want to know what 10 times that place is. So what is 1 times 10? Everybody?
10.
10. See how these problems started out looking scary because there was like so much to do, but then it got to the point where it wasn't that bad. You all feel pretty confident with this? Okay, let's jump back to our PowerPoint. I don't even know if I may have to stop this slide because it's not letting me hide my tool. Huh? I want to get off these tools. It won't.
You see the here, you see the arrow on the corner right there?
That one?
Yeah, pull it out.
I don't think that'll help me though, babe. Do you?
Because I remember you touching it and then they erased it.
This?
Yeah,
You think that's what got me?
probably. No, press like the pen.
I don't want that pen though, remember?
Well, I think we can press
It was because of these tools that were down here, and I don't know where they went.
Press the arrow down there.
No, see, I kind of know a little bit what this, I swear. Well, let me just touch, I don't think it'll let me touch it because it's going to make me. I think I'm going to have to stop my